went to curl.
Yeah, I'm not getting it. No way, no how.
So you said you learned how to win. Certainly your mental and sports psychology training sessions have helped you learn how to win. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you guys discuss as a team in your sports psychology sessions and your mental training sessions to prepare you for the big events, for the big moments, for the 10th end against Kerry Galusha? How has that helped you?
Well, I do know, but I don't know how to put it into words. Yeah. Bill Shearhart, who we talked about before, he always tells us that you gotta show up for a game like with your toolkit, right? So you always bring your skills, and then he's always talking about like what kind of attitude you bring, and then also like the tools that Tracy gives us to deal with adversity in our games. They're really important to have with us, and so she's given us so many different tools that.
Can you let us in on one tool that you use?
Like for Patty, if Patty misses a shot and she's furious about it, she gives herself 10 seconds to get over it. So she just takes her stopwatch and she times 10 seconds.
And in that 10 seconds, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah. And everybody knows that that's what she's doing.
And at the 11th second, are you over it?
Well, you know, I really, it does help me just to take in those few deep breaths to just clear my head. And so, yeah, I do believe that I'm mostly over it. And I do the best I can with it.
But it's something, I think it's a tool that helps her just, like it allows her to be angry for a small amount of time. And then, you know, it helps because then she knows that she's given herself that time to be angry, and then she has to move on, kind of thing. If there was nothing set in place for her to kind of acknowledge that she's frustrated that she missed that shot, she would just continue to be frustrated for the whole end, and that would not be helpful.
Kind of what
for
happened
anyone.
at the beginning of the season. I was struggling a lot, and I remember calling Lindsay like, "Why is this happening?" Because I felt like I was better than what I was playing, and yeah, I just went to Tracy after that and got that tool from her, and it seemed to go a long way.
Tracy's really good at what she does. Like she has this really calming way of like telling the girls, you know, different ways of doing things, and it really sticks with them. So there's lots of little tricks I think that they use out there that have just become habit now that they don't even realize that they're doing it, and those come from Tracy for sure.
Yeah, and the inside outside, like if you're feeling too internal, you look around yourself and like pick out the 4 primary colors, and so that's more if you want to go external. And if you're feeling too external, then you go internal. I feel a heartbeat, I feel my breathing.
Yeah, so just even getting them to recognize when they're feeling those 2 different things, like that took a little bit of work, but it's really helped them for sure.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me that I use is that I get very like I think a lot, and then in curling, like I have to be thinking ahead. Like if I do this, they're gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and then they're gonna do this, and then we're gonna score 2, and then I have to make sure that they don't score more than 2, and like there's so much going on in my head that for me I need to get outside my head a lot. And so then for a lot of curlers, they have to like keep their focus like on the sheet, because otherwise their mind wanders, they're not thinking about the game. But I think about the game so much that like Tracy gets me to like look elsewhere and be like, oh, that guy's hair looks really goofy today, or like, oh, Patty's shoe like fits weird. I don't know. Like I just like looking around, like finding other stuff because I have to get like out of my head.
Helping us deal with certain things and being open with each other. Sometimes even though we are close knit, sometimes it's still difficult to know how to say like the right things, right? So Tracy helps a lot with that.
Without getting too personal or into your team personal stories, what are some of the types of issues or topics that come up in your sessions that you guys work out together?
Well, like every team will have a dynamic issue here and there, or you know, it's normal. Fear is an appropriate reaction in some situations. So, you know, there might be a fear of an accountability or lack of commitment or something, and it just like, it doesn't mean to happen, but sometimes it just does, and it's nice to have that third party to be able to just sit, crack it open, and say, why are you really feeling this?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, you're not trying to offend anybody, you know you're not, but
And
it's just a
lots
feeling
of
you
our
have.
lots of our meetings are around like how to accomplish the goals without thinking them through when we're doing them. So
Right.
because
So
you don't want to think ahead.
So you guys are up a couple points going into the last end against Carrie Galusha, longtime Scotties representative from Yukon Northwest Territories. The sports psychology has got to have played a role in a situation like that, where you have to close the game out. Nerves are naturally going to be there. How has it helped in that regard?
Well, for me, going into that last end, you know, like naturally you're going to be a little bit on edge, but we had our little team powwow after the end, and Chelsea, her sister, actually just said, you know what, you've got 2 shots. Just make your 2 shots, and then it's on to the next. So, you know, getting into the hack, I had to throw one to the top of the pin, and then I got one through the house, and then I was standing, it's on to Patty, and, you know, Patty made her shots, and just breaking it down, having that sports like different view on it, because you see it as a whole end, but if you just kind of crack it down as you only throw 2 shots, just, you know, just do 2, and you've already thrown 18 or however many, so